And same thing with Christmas gifts, someone might get same pair of socks every year, and the person who's being nice will say, oh, I love these socks, and they don't. But then they're getting them every year now, and they're just getting tossed to the side. So that's a good point. Have you had anything recent? So 6 years old, you were being nice by trying to say bye to your father, and then at, I think you said 13, you decided, no, I'm going to do good for myself. I'm going to stay, regardless of my family being upset. And then has there been any big moments like that since you've been here where you made a distinct decision to be good, even though it wasn't nice or maybe favorable?
A good decision that is not nice or favorable is not a good decision. A good decision is always favorable. And a good decision is always nice and deserved. And this is where, to answer your question, can good and nice relate? Yes. A good decision is favorable and it benefits so many more. And is a nice decision because you know within yourself what outcome you've already created within your mind, right? So recently, again, throughout my life, this have played, it's been a cycle throughout my life. So when I got here, 1 year after we got to the United States, with my father now and my step family, we lived together for 1 year. So my stepbrother and I share a closet together. A closet, not a bedroom, a closet. So we just literally have to just put out our sheets and our pillow and sleep. That's what we share for the first year. And by year 2, similar situation arrives again with my step family, right? My stepmother, I love her. And she is now my #1 champion, right? She is my #1 cheerleader. But we didn't get to this place by accident, nor did we get to this place easily. Because at this time, what she saw for me was to have my education, be a good kid, go to school, come home, do my home choices. That's what she saw for me. In her light, that's what was good. And then I could go to a nice college, graduate, and then I could get a job. That was her vision for me. My father also, that was his vision for me once we got here. You need to get your education, go to school and become a lawyer, doctor, whatever. Well, I saw so much more for me, myself, than that. Once again, I was defiant of my parents because I let my step-parents know that this was not what I was in for. I wanted to be active in sports. I wanted to be active in other extracurricular activities at school, which required me to stay after school or go early to school, come home a little later. My step family did not see that. At that moment, I did. So once again, I said to my stepmother and my father, I love you guys very much, but the vision that you have for me isn't the vision that I have for myself.
And how old were you at that point?
Oh, 16 and a half now. 16 and a half.
And you're telling them this, like, no, this is not what I want to do.
Oh, yeah. So I was waiting. And then I turned 17. So by that moment, though, I just got to the U.S. a year and a half ago. I know nothing about this country at this point. So naturally, it would have been just nice for me to shut my mouth, sit quietly, listen to the adults. But I am well versed in who I am and the things that I want to accomplish. So when right away, I started doing my research. I'm going to school and I'm doing my research on the things that I needed to do to really support myself, because I could start to see that if this trend continue, in the household where I am now will not get me where I want to go. I need a scenery of different setting, but not a different family. This family is the glue to my life, is the glue to the existence that I am today. They have been an instrumental part in who I am. So there was no way in this world that I would ever really willfully disrespect or disobey them. But I will also not be nice to destroy my own future, because to do that, it would be also a disservice to them. Because one of the desires that I have is to be a person, a child that my parents will be proud of. And now my step parents, and my mom isn't here, but my stepmother, she's my mom. I gave her the same respect, the same love, the same care I would have given my mother if she was here. So there is no difference there. And if my goal and desire was to be a son that will take care of his mother and watch his mother retire and not work again, I'm going to want to do the same thing for now my stepmother and my father. There will be no distinction. So I did my research on what it would take, how living situations were, because I knew I was out. Did the research. I knew that by 17, technically and a half, I could file so that I can be my own legal guardians. Well, I did. My family are very good people. They're great. They love me. I know that. They just don't see my vision the way I see it. And I cannot blame them for that. And to allow my vision to come to fruition, I must pursue this, no matter which path or how long it takes me. So my goal is to just see what are the steps that I need to take to actually be approved to be my own self-legal guardians, because I'm old enough. So I did that. And of course, when the ultimatum came, so the nice things would have been to just listen to my family and just follow them. But that would have been a weakness of mine. The good thing that I did was to say, okay, I respect, I appreciate, and I love you guys so much, and I will never forget everything that you've done for me and you continue to do for me. So I left, lived on my own, put myself through high school. When I was graduating from high school, I made sure I write my family, wrote my dad, wrote my mom, and everybody. They know they would come because we haven't again spoken for the last 3 years since I left. So I emailed them at the graduation ceremony at the Strathmore Hall in Maryland, where my graduation ceremony was. I was in line with the rest of the graduates and, graduating honors in my class as well. I was very happy and proud of me because I have made a determination that I was going to get my education, and I made that happen. At the moment I was walking through the door, I looked up the hill. Guess who I saw? My father. He showed up for me when it mattered most.
Were you shocked?
I was extremely shocked, but not surprised.
Because you hadn't seen them in 3 years.
I was shocked, but not surprised because of the character that my father is and the man that he's always been. I had a feeling that he would show up, if not at the graduation, at least sometime after. But when he showed up right on time, I looked up and then next to him I saw my stepmother and my sister. I was in tears of joy and excitement because once again, the universe have proven to me that good is good and good is nice. And if you do good deeds, it will bring you good deeds. The goodness that I did to leave the house to pursue my education because they saw me to be of someone good that would have if they had the education. Well, I did that. They came and they witnessed this. And at the end of the day, they all said, congratulations, we're very proud of you. But at that moment, any negative beliefs that was previously harnessed to think that I was doing something wrong was dispelled. Because my results says everything that was thought of me is no truth. So that was another good deed that I did to work and to help support my siblings and my cousins, pretty much the whole younger generation, because I wanted them to be. That was a good/nice thing to do. What was it nice about that was that I put my own life on hold for 3 years. I put my life on hold and I just worked for the benefit. I was distraught when at the end of the day, all the efforts that I was putting in was not being seen. It wasn't being appreciated the way I thought it should be appreciated. Well, they didn't ask me for this necessarily. They asked for my support, but I didn't have to do it. I did it out of the goodness of my heart and what I want for me, what I wanted for them as well, because they asked that this is what they want. They wanted education. I will help you with this. So about 3 years come and go, I thought, all right, I've done everything that I could. At this moment, I put my life on hold. Now I'm restarting the engine and I'm making another good decision. So I went another 3 years not supporting my family. And I told them as much. I told them as much. Everything that I do is so clean. I called my older sister and I spoke to her very clearly. I love you, but please understand this. for the next 3 years, if it's ended by just conversation of how I'm doing, I'm in no position to support you in any way financially. None of you. I cannot. Not because I don't want, but because I can't afford it. If I continue to support you in this light, I forget myself. If I forget myself, then what good am I to you? There is a reason that the military system runs so well. And even though I'm never had an interest to go to any military branch, but I had an interest in serving. But the reason it works so well is that there is a chain of command. If every human being understood the value of service, you will understand that you don't have to be in the army to serve. You can serve at every level. So at this point in time, I was in a position where I literally saw myself as the string that everyone would be hanging on. Well, if this is going to continue for a long while and endure the test of time, as we say sometimes, then I best be prepared. Then I best start working on myself now and building those foundations upon which, again, I will quote the Bible on this one, a house that is built on a rock will not fall, but a house built in the sand will fall at the sound of a wind. So tell me, if I'm being nice and just doing the bidding for my family or friends, I ask for it, but I don't have it for myself, what good is in that? But if I am being good, I will build a stronger, sturdier foundation so that nothing will knock me off balance in the direction that I'm headed. Will it rain along the way? Yes, but the sun will shine afterwards. So I'm aware of these things, and now how we approach the circumstances of the rain, the storm, and come out of it the other end will determine the character that we are. And it strengthens the character that we already know we are if we know we are people of good character. So at that moment, I chose again later in my life to be a good person, not a nice person. I don't think any of my family understood that. The families who are back home in Liberia, they didn't understand that. And at that point, if I was in that position, I would probably say the same. You turn your back on your family. I think that's one of the most hurtful things that some people will hear in their life when family members say you turn your back on us. Some people take that to heart and it affects them for the rest of their life. Me, I heard it all the time. I reason with it. Because I can't judge my family based on where they are. They're not in this arena that I'm in now. But I have experienced what they are now experiencing. To see a complete different perspective, now I can only reason with them. Listen, I understand what you're saying. If I was in your position, I'd probably say the same thing. But I'm not. So because I'm not in your position, I cannot say the same thing. So therefore, I respect you and I appreciate and I love you. And I want you to know that I'm not turning my back on you. I never can, I never will. What I am doing is preparing myself to be of better service to you. I am putting myself in a position to be the best that I can be for myself so that I can benefit you at the highest level.
So they see that now.
They see that now. They see that now. You know, and going back home after 20 years, it was a blessing. It was truly a blessing.
Think it'll be like an annual visit now? Or?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I never thought my family hated me.
Yeah.
I never thought they dislike me. I know that my family loved me very much, but in our own selfish way, and this is what the difference is between being selfish and selfless. In our own selfish way, when we're used to a certain way of life and how it is, and that way of life is changed, we feel as though we are being outcast or pushed aside for something else. Maybe someone is abandoning us. You know, we used to sit down and have coffee together. We used to talk all the time. You know, why don't we talk anymore? Well, I have decided, I have made a good decision that if I want to achieve the level of success that I'm obsessed with, not interested, obsessed with, then I must make the good decision, which in most cases is the hardest one to make, and change my and alter the way I am living my life now. So what that might mean, sometime I may not have to talk to you every week. And I most certainly wouldn't completely travel this way if I talk to you every week. Because every time that I'm talking to you that brought no value to my journey is a time wasted, which is why we tend to have regrets on the time we spend with friends and family and relationship, because we felt like we spent all this time, nothing came of it. Well, we're being nice. Your partner didn't ask you to be nice. He saw you, he likes you, he appreciated you for who you are. He had a life before you, just like you had a life before him. But the moment we get together in a relationship, for example, we decide like, okay, well, we need to live for each other. My word is bigger than any one person. So I would never claim to the saying that an individual is my whole world. An individual is not my whole world. An individual is part of the world that I'm living in. And together we are sharing this and making the best of it. So to think that someone is my whole world, I'm losing myself. To think that I need to continue to live my life spending all day with you, again, I'm losing myself in a selfish way, because that's being selfish to please you. And you are being selfish to ask that of me, because you're not seeing the bigger picture of where I want to go. You're not seeing the desires of my heart of how much good I want to do. And I've chosen you to do this goodness with. That is really what really interests me. So selfishness is again born out of resentment, of thinking that an individual that you once knew and cared for is abandoning you for something else. He or she is not truly abandoning you. And I think if you ever go back to ask someone who you thought was abandoning you, who is now at the position of success and have made something good of himself, they will take the time to tell you why they made the decisions that they made. There is a difference, however, when someone tells you directly that they don't want to be a part of your life and that they would like to move on without you ever contacting them again. That's hurtful too. But it's a good thing that they actually did that. They actually spelled out for me in plain letter, quote, I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. English, that's good. Why? It's easy for me to digest this. They told me already, I don't want to see you. It's harder when they haven't told me, but it's showing signs of it. And I'm not a mind reader, and I don't want to assume. So if you are trying to push someone away, just say plain, hey, Abraham, listen. Maybe we can slow down on the conversation here a little bit more. How about that? Okay, great. Maybe, we shouldn't have to talk every day. Yeah, should that be okay? Yes. Please tell me what it is that you want that will bring you the goodness, but it also will serve you and so many other people, right? But to just think that the person didn't like you, and I'm telling you things that have already happened to me. There is nothing that I'm saying that I haven't either experienced and endured or gone through it more than once.
Is there something, so what brought this topic up today? Like, why did you want to specifically speak on this?
Good and nice?
Did something trigger it, or are you just, it's been on your mind?
No, I don't have triggers. I have reactions.
Okay. Did you have a reaction to something that made you think? I have
a reaction. This one, though, is a knowledge base that is becoming the wisdom. Because the topic of good and nice, what I've realized is every moment of my life that I was nice, it didn't serve me well. Not at all. There has been never anything that I've done that was nice that served me well. And what I mean served me well, I desire one thing above all else, and that's peace. So if I desire peace above all else, and that peace is so important to me, and I choose peace, because someone will say, oh, happy, great. Well, if I am at peace with me, who I am, and the decisions that I'm making, I am going to do so much more good than when I'm not.
Have you had people tell you that you're selfish for choosing peace?
Arrogant too. Narcissist.
And then how do you handle it?
Thank you very much. I'm glad you see me that way, but I wish you would sit down and take a moment to truly ask me about the way I behave. You know, my confidence is so high, and some people will look at me and call me arrogant, narcissist. I've heard that so many times. I've had girls that I dated that call me narcissist.
I think some people don't know how to read it. I think some people are wondering, is he really that confident, or is it an act?
No, nothing I do is an act. When I'm being nice and it hurts me, that's an act.
So when was the last time you were nice?
Whoo, boy. Like I said, 6 years old, I was nice.
You haven't been nice since.
That's an act, okay? I was very nice at 6 years old, and that hit me real hard. And it was the most regret that I had. But when I went back and uncovered that mistake, my life has been different ever since. Completely different. When I graduated high school, it was kind of between nice and good, and decided to just put my life on hold for a moment, literally just work in the service of others. It was a good thing to do, but it was also partially being nice. I was a little bit hurt, but I was also a little bit good because my family now really thanks me for it. Like, says thank you. You know, my cousin was telling me recently, she's like, listen, I remember when my father didn't have job, didn't have everything, you took the place and you said, I'm going to help you, and you pay for our tuitions. She said that I would never forget, and I love you forever for that.
Do you think you did any of that was there any kind of guilt from that absence of 3 years that you were on that line of, okay, this is good, but I'm being nice. But at the same time, I guess it was bringing you some kind of peace to do that, right?
Yeah, it was definitely bringing me some kind of peace. I think the part that was hitting me was I had an expectation for them that they didn't have for themselves. That was the part about being nice. I needed not to have an expectation for the good that I was doing. Because I was doing the good and had an expectation that I would go and graduate school and be successful and not drop out, that's what hurt me. It was my expectation of them that hurts me, not their expectation of me. Definitely wasn't their actions towards me. They didn't treat me wrongly at all. They did nothing to me. But I had an expectation. I've already cooked this. The ingredient was already made. I'm going to pay your tuition. You're going to go to school. You'll graduate. Well, ding, ding, ding. Wasn't that the same position that you were in once upon a time, Abraham? When people wanted you to do things and you like, nope. Wasn't that the same position that you were in when your father said, let's go? You said, sorry, I don't want to leave. Wasn't that the same position that you were in when your father and your mother said to you, hey, we want you to have this lifestyle here in this country, and you said no? Well, if that was the same situation that I was in, why was I so angry at my cousins, at my brothers, at my sister for not following through? I couldn't anymore after that moment. They asked for help. The outcome, they didn't ask for it. They didn't even know. So that was my expectation of them. So don't put expectation that you have for yourself on other people. So when people call me arrogant, it actually motivates me.
Do you think that's a reflection of themselves at all? Definitely.
Fear. More fear than anything else. Because when we don't know, when we see something that we don't know and we don't recognize, we don't understand, it brings fear to us. And sometimes when you're around people who are nice character, that's what I consider weak character, and you are someone of a good character because you make decisions that are not based on emotion alone but logic. Someone that sees you from an emotional point of view, you look completely different. They see you as heartless, as lacking empathy, as lacking compassion, because they don't have a good character to understand the power of good and that it takes strength and will to be good. It takes courage, it takes strength to say no to the people that you love and appreciate. It takes even more to say no to someone that you fall in love with. Because there's a difference to the people that we love and the people that we fall in love with. Because when we fall in love with someone, we have desire that everything that we have to be shared with them. Again, our choice, not their choice. Someday they wake up and say, hey, I no longer want to share this love with you. What do? You cry and you blame them? No, they served their times. The purpose for which they were here, if you've been paying attention, is being served, it's being complete. Take time and grieve a little bit, reflect a little, and understand why they were in your life in the first place. And if you understand that, you will find that the path forward is so clear and is brighter for your good and everyone else that is still with you, and for those that come in your way and you will meet along the way. So I don't take things personal when someone calls me any names at all. I will say though, when someone calls me nice, I take offense to that.
I've noticed that.
Because I don't consider myself to be a nice person. So to call me nice is telling me that I'm weak. I don't believe I'm a weak person.
Has anybody called you that you felt knew you really well? Or does that only happen from
strangers?
Like acquaintances and strangers? Yeah.
Strangers who don't know me well. And I say strangers, you might be an acquaintance, but we haven't spent any time talking. So based on maybe limited interaction, you've already made up your mind of who I am. So you can say, oh, Abraham is a nice person. Please don't call me nice. I do nice things. I'm not a nice person. So what about you? Because you talked about, you've noticed me being very mad because you've been around me a little bit more. When someone called me nice, I'm not a nice person. How do you pick up on that?
Well, because you do things that, in my opinion, isn't nice. You know, there's things that we have disagreed on. If you were nice, you would just like hold my hand and like, you know, try to say things to like make me feel better. But I mean, you don't do that. And so I remember the conversation maybe a couple of weeks ago. We had this conversation very briefly and somebody mentioned it and I agreed. I said, no, he's not nice. Like, yeah, he's a good person, but he's not nice. And it's really just from knowing you, you know, over these past few months, just different experiences. Yeah. You, like you said, you can do things that seem nice, but when it comes down to being a people pleaser, that definitely not you.